Hello, BookTube. I wanted to do a quick reminder video here. I wasn't actually going to do it, but I was, let's just say, gently nudged by one of you, by someone who corresponds with me. I leave my email on every video. Feel free to correspond with me. As long as you understand that I am pressed sometimes for time, that I write for a living, that I'm not an encyclopedia, as long as you understand all the common stuff and just want someone else in your inbox, well, we're friends. I'd be happy to hear from you on any subject. I'd be honored to advise you. Quite a few of you seek advice. And I also ask for advice on everything from air frying cucumbers to maneuvering Mac, the Mac OS system. So feel free to do that. But one of the emails that I got recently was about my Substack. I am using the website Substack in order to revive my old literary book blog, Stevereads, which some of you have paid me the incredible compliment of going and finding. It's scattered all over the internet. I kept a literary blog for 10 years, writing about all kinds of book subjects, whatever crossed my plate, whatever I was interested in, other than new releases. The one hard, bright line is that I was always writing about new releases somewhere else, usually for Open Letters Review, Open Letters Monthly, venues like the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or the Christian Science Monitor. But Stevereads, the old literary Stevereads, was everything else. And as you can probably tell from this channel, I have an endless amount of things to say about the literary world. Just endless. That blog, it moved to the Open Letters website, and then it somewhat sundowned, it somewhat senesced. And for a while, I was really thinking about somehow bringing it back. Especially since it, under the banner of Stevereads, is where I host my year-end best and worst books of the year list. And then David Murphy came up with the idea of maybe reviving Stevereads on Substack in a subscription model, writing for a paying audience, which is something that, as an old-style hack, I love to do. I know that will seem really strange. I write for a non-paying audience at Open Letters Review. All my reviews on Open Letters are free. So it might seem strange. What would it make a difference? And the easiest way for me to explain that will be to explain it to people who come from the world when your writing only got into the world if it was for pay. That's the world where I lived and breathed and had my essence, and I loved it. And so we fiddled around. Of course, I needed a ton of practical and technical help, and David provided all of that to set this whole thing up. And then I set it up and set up a fairly simple subscription model where there's no free content. It's $5 a month for everything that's on Stevereads. And my worry at the beginning, when this was in a prototype form, when no one knew anything about it, and I had only 2 subscribers. I had only 2 paying subscribers, David and also my friend Sam, and that was it. I was writing for those 2 people, who've oddly enough never met. That always feels really weird that they haven't met. But my worry in those early days was, well, will it be enough to justify a price? And both David and Sam said, please. There are plenty of people who have Substacks. They make people pay for their content. They deliver maybe once a month, maybe once a year. You're going to do a lot more than that. This is easily going to be worth it to the people who want it. So I tried it out. Substack is a very, very friendly website for the tech neophyte. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, no gadgets or widgets or anything like that. You really is easy to post. So I've tried it out, and I have loved it. Absolutely loved the experience. I wanted to revive Stevereads, but I had no idea until I actually did how many kinds and registers of book and writing related writing I was not doing. A paying editor does not want my ruminations on some 30-year-old Anthony Burgess novel that has not been reprinted. So there is not an occasion for it. It's not in the new release listings. It's just I happen to reread an old copy and I have thoughts about it. No editor is going to pay you to do that. And as a result, and Open Letters Review, the successor to Open Letters Monthly, is a review site for new releases. So it's not the place to do that either. And I had just grown accustomed to that. It wasn't until I started doing this new Stevereads all over again that I realized how much book writing I wasn't doing and how much I missed it. So I have been doing it, and I have loved it. Absolutely loved it. I have had a couple of nonfiction for pay freelance jobs to do. pretty much throughout the whole of the late spring and summer so far. And that, plus other obligations, have stopped me from making a new Stevereads entry every day. And plenty of people have emailed me saying, well, we're more familiar with Substack than you are. And the idea that you're flagellating yourself because you don't write every day is absurd. No one writes every day, or very few people do. I still don't like it. I'd still like to do a Stevereads every day, and I'm sure that I will as my own freelance work schedule settles down. But in the meantime, a number of my regular viewership, when you are a published writer, in the review space, in the opinion space, you develop a readership. People who are getting something from your reviews that they like, that they want to find. My readership has been built over 20 years, and they will find me. Wherever I am, they will find me and to read my stuff. Even if they have to subscribe to a local Georgia paper or Martha's Vineyard newspaper where they're never going to visit the vineyard. A lot of those people have found and been very happy with this new revived Stevereads, and a lot of you have found it. And that is great. That feels wonderful. I don't mean to go on and on about it, but the idea that you are willing to fork over $5 a month and feel satisfied that you're getting your money's worth feels wonderful to me. It really does. My readership that goes back decades before we were talking with each other, I feel like I know a lot of those people. Even though a lot of them I don't even know their names. I feel like I know a lot of them. I feel like I know what they want. Or rather, that they don't want me to change into a writer that writes things they don't want. Stay true, pony boy. I also feel, of course, like I know a lot of you. And that feels wonderful. You would think that it wouldn't. You would think there'd be something icky about knowing the people who are paying you to read your stuff, but it feels wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. This experience has been totally positive. It has been wonderful. And I got, to bring it back to how I started this, I got an email from one of you mildly castigating me, saying, you suck at promoting yourself. You really, really do. You ought to be mentioning this all the time. You ought to be mentioning this all the time. You have a Substack and you want more readers. Now, that is absolutely true. And I'm grateful that a lot of you have been around me long enough to know that when I say I want a lot of readers, that doesn't mean I want a lot of money. Yes, it's a paid subscription, but it's the readers that I want. I want a lot of readers. The money's going to go to the Brattle Bookshop anyway, no matter what. This person wrote and said, you should mention this Substack more often. People need to be reminded. People don't watch every one of your videos. Timing is everything. Kindly do that. They didn't quite put it in such courteous terms, but here I am. So I don't want to get browbeaten anymore, at least this time around. I thought I'd make a video pointing it out to you. I make a block of hyperlink contact information that I try to post on every video, and David and I have double-checked that the link to the Substack is correct, and it's right there in that listing for you to go and subscribe for what I write on Stevereads. I would be very grateful, mainly because of the readership. Like I said, the money is already spoken for. It's just going to go to more books. But the readership, I would like that to be big. I don't deny that at all. I want the bigger my audience is, or has ever been, the better I like it. So feel free to go. You would be doing me an incredible honor if you look it over and consider subscribing. Feel free to ask around to people who do subscribe if it's worth their time. I would hope that a lot of them would say, yeah, it's definitely worth $5 a month, definitely worth that. We will see. I would love it if you did that. I would love it if I had more readers. So the link is down below, and the progress report is that I'm having a blast. My only Catholic guilt element to the whole thing is that I don't feel like I updated enough. There's nothing I can do about that right at the moment, but the literary world, certainly what Gore Vidal called the book chat world, is forever giving me fodder. Forever. I wouldn't have to write about another individual book that I found at the Brattle Bookshop. Forever. I wouldn't need to do that until the cows come home. The literary world gives me all the fodder that I need. So I'm hoping to write something today. But I wanted to let you know, and I wanted to get a certain person to stop nudging me by promoting this just a little. So there you go. There's a reminder. I have a Substack. I would love to see you over there. So anyway, I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.